increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible.
What if I told you that in just 48 hours, Donald Trump managed to completely reshape the global defense order? That Europe just agreed to spend trillions more on military spending, and that this decision could determine whether World War III happens or doesn't. The Hague summit wasn't supposed to be historic. It was meant to be a routine NATO gathering. Handshakes, photo ops, vague promises about unity. Instead, it became the moment Trump's America First doctrine collided head-on with European reluctance, and Europe blinked first. Trump didn't ask for 5% defense spending, he demanded it. For months, his administration had been sending signals that America's commitment to NATO wasn't unconditional anymore. The message was clear: pay up or we're out. European leaders knew this wasn't a bluff. They'd seen Trump walk away from international agreements before: Paris Climate Accord, Iran nuclear deal, even threatening to leave NATO in his first term. This time felt different. This time felt final. Spain became the unlikely symbol of European resistance. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez stood alone, literally. In the traditional NATO family photo, there he was, isolated at the far end, a visual metaphor for Europe's dilemma. Economy Minister Carlos Cuerpo had called the 5% target misguided, arguing Spain was already making an enormous effort to reach 2.1%. But standing alone against Trump's America? That's a losing battle no European nation wants to fight solo. Belgium's Prime Minister Bart de Wever perfectly captured Europe's reality check. It won't be easy, he admitted, but 3.5% within 10 years is realistic. Notice he didn't say the full 5% was realistic, just the core 3.5%. That extra 1.5% for security infrastructure? That's Trump's compromise, allowing European creativity in what counts as defense spending: roads, bridges, cybersecurity, even energy infrastructure. Suddenly everything becomes defense when you need to hit impossible targets. Here's where it gets genius and terrifying. NATO's communiqué explicitly states that direct contributions to Ukraine's defense count toward the 5% target. Trump just turned Ukraine into Europe's military spending justification. Every Javelin missile, every air defense system, every dollar sent to Kyiv now helps European nations hit their NATO obligations. Ukraine isn't just fighting Russia anymore. It's become Europe's accounting department. Trump's most chilling moment came when he mentioned various definitions of Article 5. The sacred principle that an attack on one NATO member triggers response from all suddenly has various definitions. Secretary General Mark Rutte quickly reassured everyone about their ironclad commitment, but Trump's words lingered. What happens if a NATO ally spending only 2% gets attacked? Does America respond the same way as for an ally spending 5%? Trump won't say, and that uncertainty is the point. Here's what's shocking. This year's NATO statement doesn't condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Last year's did. This year, silence. They mention Russia as a long-term threat, but no explicit condemnation of the ongoing war. Why? Because Trump doesn't want to close the door on his promised negotiations with Putin. He told reporters he's spoken to Putin a lot and even asked for Russia's help with Iran. NATO is preparing for war with Russia while Trump prepares to negotiate with Russia. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. Let's talk numbers. 5% of GDP for defense spending? Germany's entire federal budget is about 23% of GDP. Trump is asking European nations to dedicate nearly a quarter of their total government spending to military purposes. For context, at the height of the Cold War, NATO averaged 3.5%. Trump wants more military spending than during the Cuban Missile Crisis. This isn't just a policy change, it's a complete restructuring of European society. Emmanuel Macron delivered the summit's most uncomfortable truth. We can't say to each other, among allies, we need to spend more and wage trade war against one another. It makes no sense. He's right. Trump is simultaneously demanding European military loyalty while threatening economic warfare through tariffs. Europe is being asked to militarize against Russia while economically battling America. The alliance is becoming a protection racket. Pay us for security, but we'll still hurt you economically. Slovakia's President Peter Pellegrini gave the most honest response. Bratislava would not stand in the way. Not enthusiasm, not agreement, just compliance. This is how democracies die, not with revolution, but with exhausted resignation. European leaders aren't excited about spending 5% on defense. They're just too tired to fight Trump anymore. The resistance lasted 18 months. The capitulation took 48 hours. Trump's private meeting with Zelensky revealed everything. He's got a little difficulty, Zelensky. A nice guy, Trump said afterward. A little difficulty. Ukraine is fighting for its existence, but Trump's already moved on. He's talking to Putin about Iran, asking for Russia's help while Ukraine bleeds. Zelensky knows the score. NATO's 5% spending increase won't save Ukraine if Trump decides peace means Ukrainian surrender. Nobody mentioned China at the summit. Nobody. Europe is spending 5% of GDP to fight Russia while China builds the world's largest navy. Taiwan watches nervously as NATO focuses westward. What happens when Europe realizes they're militarizing for the wrong war? When China moves on Taiwan while European armies are positioned for Russian threats? Trump's 5% demand might be preparing NATO for yesterday's war while tomorrow's war builds in the Pacific. And then came the moment that changes everything. Trump looked directly at the cameras and said, "I stand with Article 5. That's why I'm here." But his eyes said something different. Article 5 protection isn't automatic anymore. It's conditional. Conditional on spending. Conditional on compliance. Conditional on Trump's approval. NATO isn't a mutual defense alliance anymore. It's a protection racket. And Europe just agreed to pay the premium. So what does this mean for you? If you're European, your taxes just went up. Permanently. If you're American, your allies just became your dependents. If you're Ukrainian, your fate now depends on European accounting. And if you're anyone else watching this global chess game, welcome to the New World Order, where democracy takes a back seat to defense spending, where fear drives policy more than hope, where the price of peace is perpetual preparation for war. Trump got his 5%. But what did Europe lose? Maybe everything.